Hey, Snake there from Motion Tuition, where I teach you guys all about on-screen motion, from 2D designing, 2D animation, photography, video production, all things in 3D, compositing, all the way up to visual effects. This is going to be our final result that we are going to achieve today by the end of this video. In the episode 1 of this series, I had explained you the procedure of how to go about creating the planning sheet. Now it's time we take that planning sheet and start animating. If you have not seen that video, I recommend you to stop this video right now and go to the link given here and watch it once and then come back and continue from here. I'll try to keep things really simple here, so even if you are starting out in 2D animation, you will be able to follow along easily. So let's jump into it and get going. I would like to customize the workspace here to suit my taste. Yours could be a little different than mine. I'm going to choose a workspace here. I would go with Classic. Now, to ensure that I get the default view of the Classic workspace, I can even go down in the same menu again and choose Reset Classic. It's going to ask me for permission to change the workspace. I'll say OK. I like to have the toolbar split into 2 columns, so I can see all the tools clearly. Also, I like to have my timeline at the bottom of my screen. This is just a personal preference. I'll drag it and reposition it. Let's pull this up to make some space for the timeline. Everything looks great here. Now let me just go ahead and save my customized workspace. Click on New Workspace, give it a generic name. I'll call it NIG Animation. And click OK. This is how you can customize the workspace to your liking and save it for future use. The first step when you start to animate is to figure out the key drawings or keys. So let's just rename this layer as keys. Key drawings are the storytelling drawings. They visually show you what is happening in the shot. Now, I'm going to add in a few frames here. You can either use F5 on your keyboard or click and drag on the timeline to select a span of frames, right-click on the timeline and click on Insert Frame. Click on the brush tool using B as the shortcut on your keyboard and take another color here from the color picker. Now it's time to draw. Let's start off by drawing the first drawing here. Now add a blank keyframe right next to this one. You can do that by either using F7 on your keyboard or simply right-click on the timeline where you want the blank keyframe and click on Insert Blank Keyframe. Switch on the onion skin from here, so I'm able to see the previous and next drawings. The blue bracket here stands for the previous frame, green stands for the next frame. Draw out the next drawing here. Hit F7 on your keyboard to add another blank keyframe. So this is how the ball is going to go. And then it jumps into midair for a short while. And then it continues on to the other side. So here are my 3 drawings, which represent the overall motion from point A to point B and then to point C. These drawings are telling me where the motion begins and where it's ending. So if we try to do a quick test here, all we see here is a straight moving circle. What we don't have here is the path or the direction that it's going to take. And that's exactly where the breakdown drawings come into the role. I'll add another layer here, one for keys and one for keys and breakdowns. So we are able to individually see the stages. Come back to the keys layer and let's insert some frames here using F5 key on your keyboard. Now I'll add blank keyframes using F7 on the keyboard in the middle of the key drawings, where I'm going to be defining the path that the ball is going to take. Now if you're wondering what are breakdown drawings, they're essentially the drawings which represent a change in direction. Or quite simply, they are the ones which define the path of the animation. Now it's time to add the breakdown drawings. So right about here, I'll draw my breakdown And once I'm done, I'll be able to clearly look at the path that my animation is going to take. Now if we just scrub the timeline back and forth, the path starts becoming apparent. The movement too starts taking some shape here now, which is really exciting to see. Similarly, I'll take the next breakdown drawing and draw it in the next empty slot. Here this one becomes my previous drawing and this one becomes my after drawing. Use F7 key on your keyboard to add another blank keyframe. Sketch in the breakdown drawing here to add in the slight jump that the ball is taking. Switch off the onion skin, scrub the timeline or playback, and check how the ball is animating. And with this, we have successfully added our breakdown drawings. Now since the movement is pretty much logged, it's time that I time out my animation. We'll do that by adding some in-between drawings wherever required to smooth out the animation. Let's begin. Create a new layer and use Alt Drag to duplicate the contents of the layer onto the new layer. Rename and add timing at the end. Now timing implies the beat or the tempo or simply a place in time where a particular action is taking place. A good point to begin could be by just adding one frame in between all the drawings. That way each drawing will be exposed on screen for 2 frames. And incidentally enough, this is also known as animating on twos. Use F5 key on your keyboard to insert frame. Playback using the return or enter key on your keyboard. It's apparently moving way too fast. So I'll need more frames here to slow it down a bit. I'm inserting 2 frames each to slow down the speed. And since I'm adding them at equal intervals, this is going to be a classic example of equal timing. Here, if we go back to our planning sheet, we can clearly see that the amount of time that the ball will take to travel from the beginning to, let's say here, is more than the time that it's going to take when it's going to travel on this jump and probably even on the other side as well. Visually too, if we compare the length of the 2 curves, curve 1 is almost double the length of curve 2. And going by that simple observation, if we have the first part animating in say about 10 frames, the second part should be completed in roughly about 5 frames. So that is the kind of proportion that I'm thinking of right now. Let's try that out. Use Shift F5 on your keyboard to reduce the number of frames. Yes, so this is pretty much what I was hoping for. Although I may or may not need to adjust few frames here and there, but this is basically the rough blocking of my timing. It's time to add some in-between drawings to smooth out the jerks in the animation. Switch on the planning sheet, start off by activating the onion skin, adjust the brackets to see the previous and next frames, and right in the middle, add in a blank keyframe using F7 key on your keyboard. Draw the ball. Now note that I am staying centered to the previous and next drawings. Next, add in another in-between drawing in the middle of previous and next frame. If I test it, I can clearly see that there is a need for more drawings in here. So I may be able to accommodate for slowing down of the speed when the animation begins, and then gradually it should pick up the speed. But I don't really have space to add those drawings here. Now in order to accommodate more drawings, let's select these 2 frames and drag shift them to the next frames. Since I won't be needing as much drawings in this zone, always remember, wherever you want to show speed, the number of drawings will be much lesser. And wherever the speed is slower, that would essentially mean adding in more drawings. So let me just quickly add in more drawings here, staying centered and basically following the same procedure. Once done, drag this frame ahead, making space for other drawings here. Okay, this portion looks good to me. Now it's time we concentrate on the next portion. Start by adding in a blank keyframe right in the middle, like we had done previously. I don't need to have any more drawings on this side, but I will need drawings on this side, since the ball is going against the gravity and is going to eventually slow down. Similar to how when you throw a ball in midair, the ball shoots off at a very high speed, but eventually ends up slowing down as it reaches its topmost position, before being pulled back towards the ground by the gravitational force. Draw out the IB or in-between drawing here. Let's just push this frame back here and make space for more drawings to come in. Since the ball is going to follow an arc, select this drawing and use the arrow key on your keyboard to push the ball up. Keep doing these adjustments and remember to stay centered. Now, since you have a very clear idea of how to go about the process, I'll leave you with the file to go ahead and complete this, while I return back and show you the final result. So here is where I have added the remaining drawings. Let's test this and see how it's coming out. So this is pretty much what I had in mind as the final result. And this is also where we come to the end of this video. In this video, we saw how to plan out your animation and take it to the next level by actually animating it. I really hope that this video is helpful to you in your creative journey. If you like what I teach, please consider subscribing and also press the bell icon for instant updates whenever I release a new video. Signing off for now, stay tuned for my next video and take very good care of yourself and never stop creating.